Hey, what is up guys, this is Jamie from Model Kit Central, and today I'm going to be doing another Gundam model unboxing video. And as you can see, I have the 1/100 scale Master Grade Freedom Gundam version 2.0 from the Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny series. Now to start this unboxing off, let's take a look around the box before we actually get into the contents of this kit. So as you can see, we have a very nice illustration of the Freedom Gundam, of course with its beam saber equipped, fighting in space. Now if I raise the camera just a little, you can see the Jin in which it's just cut down, and then of course if we come up here you can see that we have the Master Grade logo, Gundam Seed logo, and then the seal of authenticity to certify that this kit is a part of the Gundam Seed model kit line. And then as you can see down the left side there we have the Freedom's name, and then down here we have another cut up Jin, and then we have the Bandai logo. And then if I bring the box up to you guys, you can see that this kit was made in 2016 and of course made in Japan. So taking a look at the side of the box, so be careful. You can see that we have a nice frontal shot of the Freedom, a rear shot, a pose which you can pull off of the full burst mode Freedom, some details that are present on the wings as well as other places, then the layered armor panels there, and then of course the pilot figure which can also be sat inside of the cockpit. So you also get a standing figure as well, which is pretty standard with all master grades, and then weapons which of course include the shield, the beam rifle, and the two beam sabers. Over here some information about the model itself, and then the markings that this kit comes with. On this side we pretty much see the side of the box, which again we've pretty much seen on the front cover of the box, so nothing really to discuss here. And then on this side you can see that there are some opening panels on this kit. It can point its toes down to give it some more dynamic posing options, and then of course it does also introduce this new hip joint that they've implemented into this kit. Then it shows how much the arm can bend, how the cannons, the overhead cannons, can extend, and then of course how the body can move, the kind of mobility that it has. And then of course you have the Freedom Gundam in a pose where it's firing its beam rifle. Then you've got the internal workings of the chest and the shoulders internal workings, and then of course you have a shot of the Freedom Gundam, basically an out-of-box build, so what you'll be expecting just with an out-of-box build straight out of it. So pretty much like what you're going to be expecting. And then of course lined up with the decals, and then of course with the pilot figure down there, very minuscule as normal. And then over here you pretty much just have all the different materials that this kit uses, and then some credits, and then the barcode with the price, which is 4,500 yen. So without further ado, let's take a look inside. So moving the lid to the side, we are presented with some pamphlets. So let's take a look at those first. So we have this pamphlet for these figurized busts that Bandai have been working on. So pretty much it's just like what you see on those Gundam busts basically, but instead of being mobile suits they're just figures, and they're pretty cheap actually, 1,296 yen. So I'm not actually too sure whether it's going to be a lot of parts required to assemble them, or are they just going to be very simple. I have no idea, but it looks pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not one for this kind of thing, but hey, maybe some people are. You know, I mean, they do look cool, and of course you can attach them to the action base too, so it's not too bad. And then of course we also have this other pamphlet which pretty much just tells us about the premium Bandai Hobby Shop exclusive of the beam effect parts that you can buy to make your Freedom Gundam look as though it's actually firing beams, I guess. I mean, you know, if you're into this kind of thing then yeah, but I'm not really that kind of guy for effect parts, so I'm not going to go out of my way just to buy this set just to make my Freedom look like it's firing beams, because I've never really been that kind of guy, so yeah. And then of course we have a QR code here. I'm not actually too sure what the purpose of this is, but whatever the case, if you guys can read what it says, do post it down in the comments below just so that I have an idea of what it's going on about, because I can't even read it, so yeah. So getting into the parts, we have this first bag, which has the A runner, which has the majority of the white parts, the red parts, a little bit of yellow, and then the clear parts. So yeah. Of course, with all A runners, they always have the different colored parts on them. It's the only one that has it like this. So yeah, just makes it more convenient, I guess. Then moving on, we have this bag with 2 runners in, which has the runners for the wings, as well as parts for the torso. And then of course you have the beam saber effect parts too. Pretty standard for a master grade, so if they didn't include that, it would be pretty bad. But at least they did. Then over here we have this bag with 2 runners, 1 grey, which is mostly for the railguns and some vent parts. And then on this side we have some white parts for the beam rifle and the shield. And then over here we have another bag with 2 blue runners, which is mostly for the parts for the feet and the wings. So nothing we've not seen before. Then we have this one bag with the 1 runner in it, the black runner, which has mostly the black parts for the body, the shield, and then for the wings as well. Then over here we have a bag of white runners, which is mostly for the legs as well as the beam saber. And of course both runners are identical, so there's no real difference, so not much to show here. Once you've seen one, you've seen both pretty much. In this bag we have 2 runners. We have the grey runner here, which is mostly consistent of the internal frame parts as well as the beam rifle and manipulators. And then on the other side we pretty much just have the display stand that this kit comes with. Very similar to that of the Wing Zero Custom Master Grade, if I recall. So yeah. Then in this bag we have 2 runners, 1 of black, which is more parts for the wings and miscellaneous parts. And then on this side we pretty much just have the majority of the parts for the railguns. In this bag we have the 2 white runners, which is mostly for the arms and the overhead cannons. And of course the opposite runner is pretty much the same, so once you've seen one, you've seen them all pretty much. So yeah, not too much to show off here. And then of course for the last runner, for the last 2 runners, this one bag has 2 grey runners, which are mostly for the parts for more of the internal frame parts. So as you can see, parts for the legs and whatnot. And both runners are identical, so there's no real differences between the two, so yeah. Lots of small grey parts. And then of course you also do have the 4 stickers, the dry transfer decals, and then the marking stickers as well. So yeah, just give you guys a good look at that. Just grey parts there. And then pretty much we just have the manual. So yeah, very nice looking manual right here. So flipping the first page forward, we have the MS Bio, the bio for the GAT units, and then more information regarding the Freedom. Over here, pretty much just to show you that with part orientations is pretty important, so be sure to keep that in mind when building, because you don't want to be making a mistake, because some parts don't come off easy, so you may end up breaking them, so that's a thing. And then of course you also have instructions on how to apply dry transfer decals. Over here you pretty much just have the different pages that pretty much involve the assembly of whatever part it's got. So 3, 4, and 5 involve the construction of the arms, so yeah. And then down here is pretty much just how to cut the parts out, how to clean them, and then basically the do's and don'ts, pretty much. So flipping over the page, we then have the runner lineup, so you can check to make sure all your runners are there. And then down here is the missing parts order form. Of course, remember, it is for use in Japan only, so if you guys lose a part and are outside of Japan, you won't be able to use it, unfortunately. Then we move on to the construction of the body unit, which is the first step in the manual. And then we move on to the head. After the head, we move on to the arms. Then we move on to the waist. Then we move on to the legs. And then of course we have the color splash page, which is mostly outlining the Gundam Seed Destiny line, which is weird because of course, as we know, the Freedom does also make its appearance in Gundam Seed, so the fact that it doesn't mention anything about Gundam Seed is a bit strange. But as you can see, it does show Descending Sword, which is episode 35, and then Nightmare, which is episode 34, so basically where the Freedom fights against the Impulse. Then down here we have the painting guide, so the colors for the Freedom, so if you want to paint it, pretty much all of it's there, so you can pretty much just find the paint and paint this guy up to look good. And then down here you pretty much have the painting guide for the pilot figure, and then the 1-point step, which is pretty standard for any Gunpla manual. And then over on this side, just some details of the Freedoms, like mechanisms, the mechanics that were implemented into the kit. And then down here, just some of the other features that this kit has, as well as poses it can pull off. And then over here, just some bio and the characters. And then we pretty much just continue on with the assembly of the legs. Just attaching them to the waist and then attaching them to the main unit. And then pretty much we move on to the assembly of the railguns. So we pretty much just complete the railguns all in one take here, in one page pretty much. Well, 2 pages actually, but you get what I'm saying. And then of course you then have the assembly of the wings. And then moving over, we have just pretty much how to put the wings onto the actual kit itself, and then pretty much just the assembly of the beam rifle, the shield up there, and then of course how to pretty much put the beam saber into the hand and how to connect them together to make a double-sided beam saber, and then of course how to store away the beam rifle as well as use it in the hand, and then how to attach the shield onto the arm. And then over here we pretty much just have the assembly of the base. And then down here we pretty much just have a pose that they show you how to pull off, so it just tells you exactly how to do it, which I think is pretty cool. And then over here just shows you how to use the overhead cannons and how to splay the wings out. And yeah, to give you that kind of pose there. And then of course over here we have the decal guide, so where you'd put the decals, so that's good, at least they included this. And yeah, and that is pretty much it. And then of course on the back we have a very nice front shot of the Freedom, so very nice looking, very cool kit. So that is pretty much it, guys. Not really much more for me to say. You've seen all the parts, you've seen all I could show you, so the most I can do now is build it and do a review on it. So that is about it, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you guys have, then please leave a like and subscribe for more future content, because of course if you guys like my videos, then feel free to follow me, because of course, you know, by subscribing it will give you notifications of when I upload a new video. So yeah, you know, just lets you keep updated with what I've got on my channel. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or any criticisms that you would like to, you know, address to me, then do leave them down in the comments below. I will get to them as soon as possible, whenever I get time, so that'll be a thing. And yeah, that is about it, guys. So this is Jamie from Model Kit Central, signing out.